John Sillick is the guy who in 1987 was crushed between two whales.
We weren't told much about it, other than it was trainer error. It was John's fault, John's fault. He was supposed to get off that whale.
SeaWorld trainer John Sillick swam gracefully with a large grin on his face as he was doing a routine show with his two trusted orcas. But his grin quickly turned to panic as he was unknowingly going to experience a horrific accident that would scar him for life. During his live performance, Sillick was riding atop a female orca named Corky in what seemed like an everyday regimen, when suddenly he was thrust and body slammed by another orca, Orky 2. The crowd watched in pure horror as Orky leapt out of the water, crashing onto Sillick and Corky, causing Sillick to suffer a fractured vertebrae, femur, and pelvis, which would leave him in a wheelchair for life. This is the shocking story of the orca attack on John Sillick. John grew up in a small town on the coast and was always a curious child, poking around tide pools and collecting seashells on the beach. In school, John was an average student. He wasn't at the top of the class, but he wasn't at the bottom either. He had a knack for science and loved learning about the ocean and its inhabitants. After high school, John decided to pursue his passion for marine biology. He enrolled in college and spent 4 years studying everything from fish anatomy to ocean currents. He was always happiest when he was out on the water, conducting research for his classes. During his college years, John landed a part-time job at a local aquarium. It was there that he got his first taste of working with marine animals up close. He fed the fish, cleaned the tanks, and even helped with educational programs for visitors. After graduating, John was eager to dive into his career. He landed a job at SeaWorld, where he worked as a marine mammal trainer, most with orcas and dolphins. It was a dream job come true for John, who always had been fascinated by these animals. At SeaWorld, John spent his days working with the animals, teaching them new tricks and caring for their well-being. He formed a special bond with many of the creatures under his care, spending hours getting to know their unique personalities. But life at SeaWorld wasn't always easy. The job could be demanding with long hours and physical labor. Despite the challenges, John loved every minute of it. He felt like he was making a difference in the lives of the animals that he worked with, and that was all that mattered to him. Orky 2 and Corky 2 lived vastly different lives, but intertwined within the confines of SeaWorld San Diego. Their story shed light on the complexities of captivity for marine mammals. Orky 2 was a male northern resident killer whale, captured in 1968 at around 6 years of age from Pender Harbor, British Columbia. He spent 2 decades entertaining crowds at SeaWorld San Diego before his untimely death due to health complications. Orky's life was marked by several behavioral incidents. His legacy, however, extends beyond these incidents, as he played a significant role in SeaWorld's performance for many years. Corky 2, on the other hand, was born in 1965 in the chilly Pacific waters of British Columbia. At the age of 4, she experienced the trauma of capture, witnessing 7 members of her family being taken away from the entertainment industry. She was hoisted out of the sea and transported to marine land on the Pacific, where she was reunited with other captive whales. Corky's life was marked by numerous pregnancies, none of which resulted in surviving calves. Despite her struggles, she remained a kind and patient soul, known for modifying her behavior to protect inexperienced trainers. In 1987, Corky was transferred to SeaWorld San Diego, where she continued to perform and interact with trainers. Despite her age and failing health, she remained a beloved figure at the park. However, her captivity sparked controversy, with calls for her release back to her family pod in the wild. The contrasting lives of Orky and Corky underscores the ethical dilemmas surrounding the captivity of orcas for entertainment purposes. While Orky's story is marked by his role in SeaWorld's performances and the incidents that occurred during his tenure, Corky's story is one of resilience and compassion in the face of adversity. Both orcas serve as reminders of the impact of captivity on marine mammals and the need for greater protection for these intelligent creatures. John was often with the animals during performances, and in a shocking incident in 1987, a massive orca named Orky 2 leapt out of the water, body slamming John. The terrifying moment was captured on video and has resurfaced online, reigniting discussions about the safety of trainers and the ethics of keeping marine mammals in captivity. During a performance at the San Diego park, John was riding a female orca, Corky 2, as part of a trick. The audience watched in horror as Orky, a 1,200-pound male orca, propelled himself out of the water, crashing down onto him and Corky. Sillick was crushed under the weight of the orca and was lucky to survive the ordeal. However, he suffered severe injuries, including a fractured pelvis, femur, and ribs. The incident left him in a wheelchair, facing a long road to recovery. In the aftermath of the attack, questions arose about what could have triggered Orky's aggressive behavior. Some speculated that he may have been jealous or angry, while others pointed to a possible sexual activity involving the orcas before the show. Animal behaviorists and marine mammal experts weighed in, suggesting that it's essential for trainers to be able to read the signals of the animals they work with. Signs of agitation or anger, such as a change in eye color, should be taken seriously to prevent such incidents from occurring. Unfortunately, the attack on John was not an isolated incident at SeaWorld. He was only one of many other trainers who were attacked and some even tragically killed by captive orcas. When SeaWorld first opened, it was the only theme park where people could go to see marine mammals up close and personal. It was a popular destination, especially for families looking for a fun day out. But behind the scenes, there was a growing controversy about how they treated the animals. The attack on John Sillick was one of the main eye-openers that turned the public eye towards their practices. One of the main issues was the orcas. In the wild, orcas are highly intelligent and social creatures, known for close family groups and complex behaviors. But at SeaWorld, they were kept in small tanks and forced to perform tricks for the entertainment of visitors. Animal rights activists argued that this was cruel and unnatural, causing stress and psychological harm to the orcas. They pointed to incidents of aggression and even violence between the captive orcas and their trainers as evidence of the negative effects of captivity. In addition to the treatment of orcas, there was also concerns about the welfare of other animals at SeaWorld, including dolphins, sea lions, and penguins. Critics argued that these animals were also kept in inadequate conditions and forced to perform unnatural behaviors for the entertainment of visitors. SeaWorld, for its part, defended its practices, claiming that its animals received the highest standard of care and that their primary goal was conservation and education. They pointed to their efforts to rescue and rehabilitate injured marine animals and their support for research and conservation projects around the world. The aftermath of the orca attack on John Sillick in 1987 sparked a massive debate about responsibility and safety protocols within the marine park industry. Initially, SeaWorld declined any responsibility for the incident, attributing it to trainer error, and they even later dismissed claims made in Blackfish as misleading and fake. Some SeaWorld trainers expressed skepticism about the portrayal of the incidents in Blackfish, highlighting what they saw as misinformation and omissions in the film. They argued that the incident was not an act of aggression by the orca, but rather a result of a poor judgment call by Sillick during a rehearsed routine. According to them, Sillick's decision to ride the orca for a second perimeter, facing backwards, disrupted the timing of the send signal given to another whale, leading to the accident. They emphasized that SeaWorld had developed formal protocols for waterwork interactions to minimize trainer discretion and ensure safety in the years following the incident. Jeff Ventry, another former SeaWorld trainer, admitted in an email that the Sillick accident was not an act of whale aggression, but rather a result of a trainer being in the wrong place. However, despite these assertions, Blackfish portrayed the incident as an act of aggression, contributing to public outrage and calls for reform within the marine park industry. On the other hand, SeaWorld's response to the accident on Sillick and other incidents involving trainers has been met with criticism from former employees like Samantha Berg. Berg argued that there is nothing accidental about injuries or deaths involving trainers or marine mammals, attributing them to the stressors of captivity and inadequate safety measures. She claimed that trainers are kept in the dark about the risk of working with large predators, like killer whales, and are not adequately informed about animal health issues or the real dangers they face. Berg's comments raised questions about SeaWorld's transparency and its commitment to ensuring the safety and well-being of its trainers and marine mammals. In the end, SeaWorld changed its practices, but it was only after decades. It took countless injuries and even the death of a trainer for them to finally cease the orca breeding program in 2016. Should SeaWorld suffer more punishment? How do we stop people from exploiting wild animals for entertainment? Our thoughts are reserved, but maybe another orca tale could give answers. Shown on screen.